Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and this morning my 7-year-old was again complaining about going to school. My wife actually called me after she dropped him off and said that something has got to be done. This child just keeps on complaining about going to school every morning, and I have to get into it with him every morning. And I told my wife, I said, you've got to accept and understand who you're dealing with. My 7-year-old is my son. He is extremely strong-willed like his daddy, and once he takes a position, he has a pretty hard time not arguing with you about it, about how he's right. And so I told my wife, the mistake you're making is getting into the argument with him at all. The way that this kid thinks is the second you start arguing with him, then he's got to prove that he's right and maintain his position. And so I said the easy way to handle that is to calmly tell him, if I hear you complain about school one more time on any morning, then we're going to take your iPad and you're not going to see the thing for the next week. I said that is the key to his heart, as it is most of these kids' heart. It's like they're on these iPads all the time, and actually I need to stop letting him get on the thing so much. Sometimes as a parent, it's kind of easy to let them just be on the iPad so that you're not having to deal with them and they're quiet and all that. But there's no question about it, the iPads are an addiction. But the point of that story is everybody has to be dealt with differently. Different personalities are motivated by different things. All you have to do is find out what motivates that person, and that's how you solve those kinds of issues. I think my wife finally understood if she'll just not argue with him and not get that ball rolling, all she's got to do is make a list of the things he really cares about and make him feel like those are on the line if he doesn't behave a certain way. Okay, enough of that. This is from vulcanxrp@gmail, and sent me this. Now, this is the type of thing we were seeing a lot in 2018, but when you read this, you have to remember, and what this is brokerage giant Charles Schwab dismisses crypto, saying it's purely speculative. What you have to understand about this article right here is that Charles Schwab would be considered one of the more conservative brokerage firms on Wall Street. And when I think of Charles Schwab, I always think of, okay, that's the place where a lot of retirees go to have their wealth stored, and the fees are very reasonable. And in fact, I have an uncle who I think he might have a Charles Schwab account because he pays close attention to the fees involved and all that type of thing. I think of it as a conservative place for retirees to have their IRA or whatever, or to roll their 401k when they retire. But for the reason that they are a conservative firm, of course, crypto right now would not be on their radar first. They'll be one of the last ones to come in. But believe you me, they will come in. I've said it several times. Not just them, everyone on Wall Street is coming in because they don't have a choice. And don't take my word for it. Watch this. Schwab, however, now what they said, by the way, is they said investors should view these currencies as purely speculative instrument. That's somebody from Schwab. Schwab, however, could get into the crypto game one day, maybe via an acquisition deal, according to market experts. And here's what you need to get out of this article. Schwab will be forced to move into the space at some point, although most likely in a small way. Custody of client assets or a stake in an exchange, said Will Trout, senior analyst at research and advisory firm Celent, or I guess that's how you say that. So they will be forced to move into the space, and that's kind of what I've been saying all along. Okay, XRP Gord sent me this, and this is pretty good stuff right here. Crypto.com has added MCO, ETH, and drumroll XRP to crypto credit as collateral deposit to instantly secure a loan. Full details. So now Crypto.com, you can get a loan on your XRP. That's the way I read that. But that's big time right there. That's more and more adoption, folks. All right, NBK Crypto at NBKLYRAD sent me this. Now, last 2 or 3 videos, I've been bringing up the tokenization of assets. My favorite firm in the space is Securitize. Why? Because Securitize, one of their investors is Spring, which is a Ripple initiative. So, but the other reason is I think these guys are going to be at the forefront of the tokenization of assets. Bank XRP tweeted this: why it matters, the SEC's approval of Securitize as a transfer agent. Added this image for some may have forgotten, and this is the CEO. His name's Carlos Domingo, and he tweeted this out. Why it matters, the SEC approval of Securitize, and this is the article. When I was a financial advisor, when you're studying for the Series 7, transfer agents are that's some of the questions on the Series 7 to become a financial advisor. Transfer agents, that's something that is in the traditional stock market. And so they've now proved Securitize to be a transfer agent. Now, so just so you get a little bit of an explanation of it, transfer agents usually act as an intermediary between an issuer of securities and shareholders of securities. They're an agent of the issuer, but they serve multiple roles. Primarily, they keep what is known as a master security holder file for the issuer, or a cap table, which shows the issuer who holds its securities. This allows the issuer to conduct corporate actions through the transfer agent. This is the interesting part. If an issuer is paying a dividend or an interest payment, they can work with the transfer agent. The transfer agent can act as a paying agent and flow the payments, which could be dividends or interest, for example, through the transfer agent to the holders, since the transfer agent keeps all the info on who those holders are. I believe that this is where these tokenized assets are going to go. If you can imagine owning some real estate or owning tokenized assets and also being paid a dividend, maybe a dividend in that token for owning them. That is where all this is going to go, in my opinion. It's going to be a fascinating thing. Now, I also watched a video on Securitize's website, and Rand Nooner from CNBC Crypto was interviewing them. One comment that he made that I found very fascinating. He said, since these assets are being tokenized, aren't they going to be trading at a premium? And my wheels were turning, and I played it back, and I was asking myself the question: is what he is saying is that if I own a piece of real estate and I have it tokenized, that all of a sudden my real estate is going to be worth more because it now has something as a real estate investment that it did not have when I bought it. It is now liquid. So the question is this: if you are a real estate owner of any kind, it could be a beach condo. If you're a real estate owner, are you going to make money just by virtue of owning real estate as the world becomes getting tokenized? Are you going to make a premium on your investment in that real estate once you tokenize it, just because you made it a liquid investment? Is there then going to be a premium for it? That is where I think we're going, folks. Okay. And I hope I explained that right. Michelle Vandenberg. This is very interesting right here. Tony Valentino tweeted this. Now, I'm not saying that I believe XRP is going to be backed by gold, but I do want to pull a point out of this. It could be, who knows? I do want to pull something out of this, though. When China launches their gold-backed currency, do you think the world will want nothing backed US dollars or fresh air backed XRP? Western world are going to have to throw their gold behind XRP to level the playing field. China has been buying gold like crazy since the start of the year. The People's Bank of China raised bullion holdings to 62.45 million ounces in August. They have said that they're going to back the yuan by gold, okay? But my question, and what I want you to get out of this, is the US dollar is the world's reserve currency. In the 70s, I can't remember the exact year, Nixon pulled that gold backing. We no longer are backed by gold. So everybody who has put their trust and faith in the US dollar as the world reserve currency has done it on a piece of paper and basically said, oh, we believe you can pay it back, okay? Now, along comes China. They back the yuan by gold. Now there's a fiat currency that actually is backed by something. What do you want to hold? The US dollar that's backed by nothing, while you, holding that US dollar, are staring at this and are staring at this? What would you rather hold? I can tell you this, the digital asset investor would rather hold the gold-backed currency. What plans does the United States have to keep this scenario from unfolding? I can promise you they have plans. I Am Legion sent me this at PAISAN2684980. Give him a follow. He is a big poster in the community. It's a video called Freight Recession Gets Worse as Heavy Truck Orders Crash 80% at Top Manufacturers. Again, this is one of those leading indicator things about what is about to happen with the economy. You can go to the Silver Report Uncut to watch this, and you should go watch it because these are the type things you need to be paying attention to. It hits different industries first. Like I've told you on this channel before we have recessions, they hit home builders who are building homes. They hit manufacturers like this on the lead end. And then what happens is as this cascades across different industries, eventually you start reading about layoffs in different companies. That is where all this is headed. Okay, Heisenzer at Heisenzer sent me this. Now this is interesting. For those of you that do not know, this is from XRP Research Center. 18 employees and 7 job openings as of today. Now what he's talking about is Polysign Inc. Okay, this is I have not talked about Polysign much on this channel. Brad Combs has been talking about Polysign a lot, and he keeps talking about how Polysign, there's no information that comes out about this company, and his premise is that there is something big going on over at Polysign. Well, for those of you that are watching this channel that have never seen anything about Polysign, let's look at Polysign for a minute. The first thing that I notice when I look at Polysign is that they've got a big X in their graphic on the home page. Institutional grade custody for digital assets. This is one of the and they say it right here. Custody, the biggest problem facing digital assets. The cryptographic secret unlocks access to all funds. Once the secret is stolen or lost, funds can never be recovered. All right, so they're an institutional. This company provides institutional custody of digital assets. Well, who is this company? Well, let's look at who this company is. This company is filled with people having to do with Ripple. This guy, Arthur Brito, is the mysterious Arthur Brito, who is one of the founders of XRP and Ripple. This lady, Antoinette O'Gorman, Chief Compliance Officer. Prior to joining Polysign, Antoinette was CCO of Ripple Labs, a San Francisco-based financial technology software company. Keep going. Boom, board member David Schwartz, the current CTO of Ripple and also a founder of XRP, one of the creators of XRP. And then you have this lady, Anna Tong, who also worked for Ripple. All of these people work for Ripple, folks. All of them, okay? Or not all, but the ones I just showed you. It is not a coincidence that these people are involved in Polysign. What that coincidence is, we don't really know yet. But what we do know is what XRP Research Center, I think I'm saying that right. he just posted this, and this is an actual, he's apparently been following the job postings. So I think that the point of his tweet is that something is happening. They may, I don't know if they've gotten certain approvals they needed or whatever, but they are now hiring out the wazoo. So if you're an engineer and this is your thing, I think there's a lot of promise with a company like this personally. Okay, X lighting the way. The world is waking up to the new asset class. And this is just an article about, it says Abu Dhabi. I learned how to say Abu Dhabi from the official language snob of the Digital Asset Investor channel, who was one of my friends who was trying to correct me on how I was saying certain words. He was correct, but that doesn't mean that he's not getting a title out of it. He is the official language snob of the Digital Asset Investor channel because of this. But Abu Dhabi Global Market has issued a set of guidelines for digital securities to support the development of digital assets. So you can see that the regulation is cascading. Then I got this from XRP Trooper, at Trooper XRP. And I just so agreed with this that I wanted to show it to you. It's from Where's Bob, at Bob and Deep XRP. Bare naked truth here. I'm 51. Up until 2 years ago, I always thought the talk of manipulation of media, politics, finance, etc. was tinfoil hat BS. It took me deep diving into crypto to see the truth as its success or failure crosses all aspects. Holy, you know what? I feel like Neo. Now, this same process has happened to me as well, folks. My epiphany, and you probably can gather this by this time by listening to this channel. My epiphany came during the financial crisis when I was sitting there and I watched as good people, smart people, people who had run businesses for 30 years, as I watched those people be put out of business by the government and by banks, while the banks got bailed out, and the same people that created the whole thing in the government took credit for fixing the problem, which they never did, but they claimed to, and they've all to this day been given credit as if they did something, and all they really did is set us up for future collapse. When I saw that, and I saw the U.S. government basically just, in the name of a quote crisis, suspend existing laws so that they could bail out their friends. When I saw that, that was the turning point in my life. They say everything happens for a reason. I do believe that. Everything that happens to you, whether it's failures or successes, it all happens for a reason. The smart people learn from those failures, and they learn from the things that happen. Well, the digital asset investor has learned from all of them. And I was actually on the way to my son's travel ball tournament yesterday. I took my son, literally, took him from the financial crisis to today to tell him the why of what his dad has been doing all of this time and how it all unfolded. And he was blown away by the story. And one day I'm going to tell you all the story. That will be the day that you see me out in public, because I have a wonderful story of successes and failures. But I believe that we are now. Bob and Deep is 1,000% right. For those of you who thought it was tinfoil hat, if you've been paying attention, all you have to look to is go back and study that financial crisis and see what these people did, and see what they were willing to do to save themselves and their rich friends when everything went to hell in a handbasket, and anything goes. And that is when I knew at that time, and I may not have even told you guys on this channel before, when all of that went down, that was the day that I started looking at gold and silver. And it wasn't too long after that I bumped into Bitcoin. And that was when my life changed forever. And I discovered all of it because the financial crisis was when it finally dawned on me. These people are not good guys. All these people that we've been looking at our entire lives and watching the financial news and saying, oh yeah, this is what you do. You go and invest your money in stocks and you do this. And here's how the world works. not all, but a lot of it has been a complete lie. And digital assets and precious metals, they represent the truth. The reason the U.S. is so vulnerable right now, you got a communist country that is talking about backing their currency with something real, gold, while the U.S. is completely exposed because they got rid of the gold standard and destroyed our money. And it has been they have destroyed our savings and destroyed our money for the last, since at least the 70s, for the last 30 years or so. And we've all taken it. And digital assets are the response, folks. I've said it for a long time. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button and tell your friends and family that we're in the right place at the right time and we're on the side of truth. Thank you for listening.